Hello, welcome back to a new video. It's another Marvel one, I'm glad to say. It's a new Marvel series which has debuted on Disney Plus this week. It's Moon Knight. And this is a character. I don't know much about Moon Knight. I was sort of just about leaving Marvel in the 70s when Moon Knight was appearing. I think he appeared first in Werewolf by Night, which was a very good horror series that Marvel did. I think it's written by Doug Mensch. And I know the character has had various iterations over the decades, and I know very little about his origin, really. I was quite interested when I heard that Marvel were doing this, because the first thought is, really? Who's that? But again, I trust Marvel, and I watched the first episode, and it's great. It's a really good series. It is one of those series that you will, if you like to watch a story and follow it and know, right, okay, this is A leads to B, leads to C, leads to D. This isn't that series. This is a series. They watch the first episode, like, what's going on? Because it isn't necessarily an easy story to follow, because it is all over the place, because its central character is all over the place. Central character is Stephen Grant, played by Oscar Isaacs, with an interesting English accent. He plays a gift shop supervisor in the National History Museum in London. And I don't think they filmed it in London, but there are scenes that look like that. I think there must have been some stuff done in London, but I think most of it was filmed in sort of Budapest and places like that. Budapest. So anyway, he's this gift shop curator, and he suffers from dissociative disorder, which is a sort of a schizophrenic mental condition. He's clearly confused about a lot of things a lot of the time, but strange things start happening to him. He wakes up in the night, and all of a sudden he's in the Alps, and he sees a strange ceremony conducted by a character played by Ethan Hawke, which results in a woman being killed. There are mercenaries characters who are chasing him, and he doesn't know why. He's got no idea what's going on. Is some sort of waking nightmare, some sort of dream. He ends up in this really well done car chase sequence around these winding hills in what's supposed to be the Alps. A scene which is just cinematic, and that's the scale that this show brings to the TV screen. It looks like a film. He ends up then back in London, back in the museum, where he's being chased by some sort of monstrous creature. Ethan Hawke's character appears again. He hears voices of some strange character who calls him a parasite, and there's some sort of... I'm slightly worried that there was a Venom type relationship building up there, but I don't think it's going that way. And at the end of the episode, he confronts his alter ego, a version of himself, who tells him to let go, give up who he is, and to save him from this creature that's rampaging through the museum and is after his head. He has to become somebody else. And in the final scene, he has this battle with this creature and beats it. Turns to the camera and becomes Moon Knight. And here's my little figure of him, my figurine of him. Yeah, he becomes Moon Knight. This is pretty much what he looks like on screen. We only see him for a minute or two in full costume. He turns to the camera. So I don't really know exactly what's going on, but it lays the foundations for a very intriguing and very arresting visually series. It's beautifully made. I mean, it's Marvel, puts cinematic production values on the TV. It looks gorgeous. It looks stunning. But it's fascinating. I mean, it isn't one of those. It's not like, say, Hawkeye, which I loved. I loved Hawkeye. But that had a very linear narrative that you followed, and events happened, and you discovered things. And there were some mysteries, but not real head-scratching mysteries like this. In that, there was things like, well, why is she doing this? Or what's this? What's that? But this is all, what? But in a good way. Fascinating, really good. I've seen it once. I've just sort of seen half of it. I'm going to watch it again. It is one of those shows I think that will reward a repeat viewing, rather. And I really, it's another winner for Marvel, basically. I mean, it's early days, obviously. We've got 5 more episodes. There's a lot to like here. There's a lot to unpack, although to be unpacked for us, because it hasn't given us everything on a big info dump. It's sort of seeded things, and I think we're going to learn more as each episode goes by, which is going to make it fascinating. Oscar Isaacs is great. The only comment I'll make, I think, is that his Cockney accent is a bit sort of, blimey, governor, sort of thing. And he reminds me, if any of you out there know the comedy actor Spencer Jones, who's appeared in things like Upstart Crow and a comedy series called Mr. Winner. Sort of slightly childish sort of naive sort of voice. It's hard to describe really, but it's that accent basically he's put on, and it's hard. It's unusual to hear a character in a Marvel film talking in that sort of London accent, and it is actually nice to see a story set in London, whether it was filmed there or not. To move away from New York, where all the superheroes are leaping around New York, it's nice to see a different European perspective. Otherwise, beyond that, yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned I put a comment about it on Facebook, and it's nice to see Marvel doing London, even though they can't resist those sort of London cliches of red buses and people who say bloody bugger and bollocks a lot, because that's the English language apparently, where we all talk like that. Oh, bugger, bollocks. It's quite amusing, that American view of what England is like. Of course, the swearing in England is actually much worse than that these days. No, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's not a lot more I can say. I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen it yet. And I can't spoil it much more because I don't really know exactly what's going on. But there's something odd going on, and it's clearly playing on this sort of fractured psyche of Stephen Grant's character. And I'm very interested to see how this turns out. It looks like it's another Marvel winner. They're just knocking it out of the park, really, with films and TV. I mean, Eternals was a bit of a duff one for me. But generally, 14 years into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're cooking on gas, as they say. So that's Moon Knight, which is streaming now on Disney Plus. New episodes every Wednesday. Have a look. Let me know what you think. So come on, get involved. Leave a comment down below if you watched Moon Knight. Did you like it? Didn't you like it? Subscribe as well would be cool. That's a really good thing to do, subscribe. And all that sort of stuff. Right, I'm out of here. I'll see you soon. Until I do, hey, keep checking the stuff.